live. Good morning, everyone. Some fresh faces for a new segment. We're getting this one off to a flyer. We've had technical edits. Me, Mike, and Grant are all absolutely buckled with the flu, COVID, whatever the hell. Don't know what the fuck's going on at the minute. But the three of us have decided to jump on because we're going to introduce a bit of a new segment. We don't quite know what we're doing yet, but we'll figure it out. And hopefully you guys will give us some feedback on what you want and what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. But first of all, good morning, fellas. How are we?
GM. I'm all right. As you said, I'm dying slightly, but yeah, I'll get over it.
Yeah, I'll be all right. We'll get through this.
Fucking hell, we are bringing the energy this morning. So for a top line level, basically what we're going to do is this new segment, we're calling it Good Morning Degen. And what we're going to do is we're probably going to jump on it first, probably twice a week, go over like the anything major that we've seen in the news since we last spoke to you, 24-hour price movements, this kind of thing. Give some insight into why we think that's maybe happened and fill in the gaps around everything else. That's the loose plan. Whether we execute it well will remain to be seen. So if we jump straight into it then from a top line view across the market, what we've seen over the last 24 hours. So lots of fun stuff, right? We've got Bitcoin down to 27,200. It's not 0.9%. Got ETH down to 1,813, 0.7%. Total market cap is down to 1.18 trillion. Binance outflows of minus 190 million in the past 24 hours. And feed and greed index for Bitcoin and ETH is neutral at 50 and 48 respectively. So things are looking excellent. What do we think, lad?
Yeah, it's just a sign of the times, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a hell of a lot worse. There are kind of baskets that perform pretty well. I'm sure we can get into them in a second, but across the board, it seems pretty flat. Nice bounce yesterday, but kind of got faded. But we'll see. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, like say over the weekend, you obviously got to be cautious with it just being a scam pump on a Sunday. So it was nice to see obviously some movement off the bottom. We got a bit of a wick down to around the 26 area, didn't we? So obviously people were praying for 25, 23. We've had calls for, I think I've seen calls for 14.
Yeah.
So we will see like Penn saying that we are going to the depths of hell. But yeah, I think it's obviously nice to see some movement and some alts moving again off the bottom quite strong. Again, it remains to be seen how we move over summer. As we've said before, people walk away from the table and it might be a few months of chop till the end of the year, and then we might see some movement. In terms of volumes, etc., you've seen a drastic reduction in volume on Bitcoin since the end of March alone. So it doesn't look currently that volume's returning on spot. So we'll just have to see how things move over the next couple of months.
Yeah. So what we want to do as well is we want to try and like touch on biggest winners and biggest losers as well. And I'm sort of sitting here deliberating whether it's going to be worth doing losers first and then going on to winners and finishing with a bit of positivity. But I actually think the loser may be a little bit funnier. So we're going to start. We're going to start with the biggest winners. So talk to me then, lads. LSD related assets are up.
Right.
Why? Let's get into that.
Yeah, so across the board, my kind of DEX screener watch list is my kind of go-to watch list now. It's being plagued with meme coins for the past couple of weeks, so it's starting to look a little bit more fundamentally oriented, shall we say, at the minute. So it looks like what happened is going into the Shanghai upgrade where people could withdraw their ETH. Lido was slightly behind with their upgrade to actually allow withdrawals, and Lido still accounts for around 80% of the liquid staking token total market. So if you've got the biggest player in that aspect of the industry still not allowing withdrawals, now we've kind of seen that over the past 24 hours that withdrawals have gone live with Lido, so people can unstake their ETH there or redeem the underlying ETH for the staked ETH. So what people I think are speculating on is the fact that there's been a a large uptick in new liquid staking token derivatives, or LSTs, LSDs, however you want to call them. It's hard to keep up with the naming of these things at the minute. But I think what people are speculating is Lido potentially losing some market share, and does capital then rotate into smaller projects or smaller assets that can then capitalize? Because it only takes a couple of percentage points from funds to move out of Lido or move out of some of the bigger players and into these smaller ones to see their TVL skyrocket. We know TVL is a little bit of a meme because it's not exactly permanent, but off the back of that, there's a lot of good kind of sentiment around projects that can capitalize on that unstaking from the largest liquid staking provider coming onto the market. So we've seen likes of Unsheath and the USH token, Libra, however you want to pronounce it, in the LBR token, and even yield trading assets like Pendle and Flash. Flash has definitely been the stronger horse out of the two. Pendle hasn't necessarily moved that much, but all in all, to kind of like round that up, it seems like a lot of people are speculating on capital flowing out of the bigger players in this basket of assets and into smaller players. So that's what I think we're saying here. Mike, have I missed anything off there, you think?
No, I guess in terms of narrative driven, we're always early at this narrative, aren't we? So we were looking at this narrative about 3 months ago. So I guess in terms of respect to that, we probably will be early. We've probably been early again, and hopefully we'll see these outflows in terms of in these smaller projects. I guess the likes of Flash, LBR, you've got some pretty low caps there that they've got potential really good upside in comparison to some of the other projects out there. So these it's nice to see some strong movement, and like you say, at the moment things are up quite a bit. So we'll have to see how it plays out in terms of, is there going to be a significant pullback, but it'll probably be down to majors, where we see things move.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I don't know whose phone's exploding there, by the way, lads, but someone's getting absolutely battered with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
God knows what people want. I apologise for that.
Yeah, I thought I'd just call that out. I said this was the first one that was going to be rough and ready, so it's definitely rough and ready. So sorry for everyone here in Mike's 10 million emails that he's getting there. But yeah,
it's his OnlyFans messages going on.
Fucking needs it in this market. So yeah, but anyway, we straight on the biggest losers. So in what feels like the shortest meme coin rally, I don't know whether it has been, but it just feels like I've had a haircut, and it came and went immediately fast. Some people made fucking millions and are gone forever in the blink of an eye, but they are taking a beating across the board, aren't they, lads? So what do we think of this? Let's get into that.
Yeah, so basically just across the board, they seem to just be getting completely destroyed. I think there's obviously a few factors. One, it got extremely frothy. Everyone was searching for the next Pepe when they should have just been long in Pepe some more. And obviously that came to a halt. And, they started getting listed with perps, and people can short the fuck out of them, and arbitrage of funding rate and all that kind of good stuff as well. And then again, just with kind of baskets of assets, everything else kind of gets dragged down with it. So like Bob, Milady, Meme Coin, Warjack, and all that kind of good stuff. And then obviously you get huge top signals in specific baskets of assets. So you're kind of seeing, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to shed any more light on him, but quite a big crypto YouTuber who is a fully grown man in pulls shock face thumbnails and shit like that, getting a donation address and people sending millions and millions to it. So if that isn't a top signal for like a specific basket of assets, I don't know what is. And there's also, as we've just said on like the biggest winners, there's obviously a reversion back to fundamentals underway as well. So there's more liquid, more high potential assets with less mentally ill holders in them, like your liquid staking assets, and even Bitcoin BRC20s and Bitcoin DeFi's coming and starting to gain some traction. So I think it's just a reversion to the mean. That's all I've got on the meme coins. I'll get into the other one, which is pretty funny after that. But I don't know if Mike's got any takes on the meme coin sector.
Yeah, I guess we've seen it before. And like, it's all top signals in the end of cycle to a certain extent. And we've seen it before where, and this one seems to have been even more accelerated, really. It's like a 3-week window where it's just mental. But obviously, you've got a PVP market. And if there's not new capital inflowing in, then at the end of the day, in terms of this reversion to the mean, then someone wins and a hell of a lot of people lose. And that's what you get to when you get that capital sapped up, people taking profit. And then you've got the bag holders, and like you always do, that it ends up that they lose out. And I guess it's more apparent, even more. I know markets are like that across the board, really. It is PvP, but in memes especially, it is very much that way. Something that people need, I guess, should be aware of when it comes down to that.
Yeah. Well, the point that Alex said, like in the stats at the beginning, 190 million, negative 190 million in Binance outflows. So there's no real new money coming into it. It's just like the same money sloshing around, and so it's once that uptakes a little bit, you might be a little bit better. But
Not for now.
I mean, and one of the funny one that we keep talking about anyway, which may not be to everyone, but as football fans, if anyone's seen over the weekend, Arsenal have seemingly thrown the league away, which means that inevitably the Arsenal fan token is taking a beating. There's one thing I just absolutely love about crypto. It's that. Like, that is if anything, this industry knows how to kick you when you're down. So the fan token is down. Let's talk about that, please.
Yeah, aside from like Arsenal absolutely bottling it last minute as usual, it's like a quick story. I won't diverge too much, but I think one of my favorite trades of all time was buying the PSG fan token when Messi was rumored to go there, and it like went up 300x over, like not 300x, like 300% over like a weekend. Hilarious. So it just shows how speculative and narrative driven everything is. Like Arsenal fan token down like 10% since Man City looked like they're in pole position to win the league. So it could be quite funny. But like these things, you can literally throw capital at anything that has a sentiment or narrative behind it, particularly in these low liquidity environments, and shit happens. So pretty funny one.
Yeah, I mean, any other headlines that we want to cover before we sign this off and keep it short and sweet?
No, I think that's the main ones today. I think that covers it all, doesn't it, guys?
I think what's also funny, just to kind of add to the demise of Arsenal, the Man City fan token is up from $4.94 to $5.77.
Inflows. Capital rotation right there.
Oh man, that is.
We're in the wrong game.
There is one decent bit of news. It's pretty flat across the board. Don't really want to get too much regulatory stuff because it's boring as fuck. So, Optimism mainnet Bedrock upgrade for June the 6th. It will have like 2 hours scheduled downtime, but looks like a good one. Keep an eye on. There's a lot of stuff cooking at Optimism, and we'll see how Coinbase are building their L2 using the OP stack. They will not be the last, mark my words. There'll be a lot of apps that use the OP stack to build their own L2s. There'll be a lot of institutions that use the OP stack to build their own L2s and take the first steps into the whole DeFi world. So keep an eye on that one. And also the OP token has a large overhang of unlocks coming up as well. So all these kind of things usually play into when there's scheduled unlocks to kind of mitigate any additional sell pressure, as it were.
Yeah. Anything else from you, Mike?
Oh, that's everything for me. I'm dying over you.
Yeah, I know. So we did get through the first one in under 15 minutes. And if you are listening, I hope you got some value out of that. And if nothing else, even a little bit of a laugh. But we will get better at these. I promise. We might. Who the fuck knows?
We will.
Anyway, regardless, I don't think we will. Regardless, we'll be back on Thursday. So hopefully we've got some more stuff to talk about. But in the meantime, catch you in the next one.
Day out. Your next career move could be the one you never imagined. Web3 nomads. Everywhere jobs for anywhere people.